Our objective in this lesson is to illustrate different properties of operations on the set of integers. Let's have a quick review. Perform the indicated operations. Number 1, 0 plus negative 7. Two consecutive different signs when combined will become negative, so 0 minus 7 is equal to negative 7. Number 2, negative 7 times 0. Any number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. Number 3, 0 minus negative 7. Two consecutive same signs when combined will become positive. So 0 plus 7 is equal to positive 7. Number 4, 0 divided by negative 7. 0 divided by any number except 0 is equal to 0. Number 5, 7 divided by 0. Any number except 0 divided by 0 is equal to undefined. Number 6, negative 2 times negative 8 plus negative 7. When you have multiplication and addition, perform first the multiplication. Negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. And then positive negative will become minus. So 16 minus 7 is equal to 9. Number 7, negative 14 divided by negative 2. Both are negative, so this is positive 7. Number 8, 6 divided by 2 plus 7. Perform first the division before the addition. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 plus 7 is equal to 10. Number 9, negative 7 minus negative 5 all over negative 2. Two consecutive same signs, this will become plus. So negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. Divided by negative 2, this is positive 1. Number 10, negative 7 plus 7. Same numbers of opposite signs is equal to 0. And 0 divided by 7 is still 0. The first property is the closure property. If two integers are added, the sum is also an integer. In symbol, this means an integer plus an integer. The result is an element of integers. Z is the letter used in mathematics to denote the set of integers. Let's have an example. 7 plus 0 is equal to 7. 7 and 0 are both integers. That is why the answer is also an integer. Another one, negative 3 plus 8 is equal to 5. All of these are integers. Next one, if two integers are subtracted, the difference is also an integer. In symbol, we have a minus b is an element of integer. Example, 7 minus 0 is equal to 7. Again, 7 and 0 are integers. When subtracted, the answer is also an integer. Another one, 0 minus 3 is equal to negative 3. 0 and 3 are integers. Negative 3 is also an integer. Next one, if two integers are multiplied, the product is also an integer. In symbols, we have a times b is an element of z. An integer multiplied by another integer, the answer is an element of integers. Example, 5 times 3 is equal to 15. All are integers. Another one, negative 2 times 0 is equal to 0. Negative 2 is an integer, 0 is an integer. When multiplied, the answer is 0, also an integer. Integers are not closed under division. Let me explain. 10 here is an integer, 0 is also an integer, but when we divide 10 by 0, the answer is undefined. That is why integers are not closed under division. Next property is commutative property of addition and multiplication. Changing the order of the addends does not affect the sum. In symbol, a plus b is equal to b plus a. Let's have an example. 7 plus 2 is equal to 2 plus 7. The sum of 7 and 2 is 9. The sum of 2 and 7 is also 9. So commutative property of addition states that changing the order of the addends does not affect the sum. Another example, 50 plus 100 is equal to 100 plus 50. 50 plus 100 is 150. 100 plus 50 is also 150. Last one, negative 7 plus negative 2 is equal to negative 2 plus negative 7. From what we have learned in our previous lesson, if two integers have the same signs, we just add the numbers and then copy the sign. So 7 plus 2 is equal to 9 and then affix negative, so negative 9. Same thing here, 2 plus 7 is 9 and then affix negative, negative 9. Next, changing the order of the factors does not affect the product. In symbols, A times B is equal to B times A. Let's have an example. 7 times 2 is equal to 2 times 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 2 times 7 is also 14. So it means commutative property of multiplication states that changing the order of the factors does not affect the product. Another example, 5 times 100 is equal to 100 times 5. 5 times 100 is 500. 100 times 5 is also 500. Another one, negative 7 times negative 2 is equal to negative 2 times negative 7. From what we have learned in our previous lesson, multiplying integers having the same signs will give a positive answer. So this will be positive 14. Also here, negative 2 and negative 7, negative times negative is positive. 2 times 7 is 14. Subtraction and division are not commutative. Next property is associative property. Changing the grouping of the addends does not affect the sum. In symbols, A plus quantity B plus C equals quantity A plus B plus C. Let's have an example. 1 plus quantity 7 plus 3 is equal to quantity 1 plus 7 plus 3. 7 plus 3 is equal to 10, so this will be 1 plus 10. 1 plus 7 is equal to 8, so this will be 8 plus 3. 1 plus 10 is equal to 11. 8 plus 3 is also equal to 11. So, associative property of addition states that changing the grouping of the addends does not affect the sum. Another example, quantity 5 minus 3 plus 8 is equal to 5 plus quantity negative 3 plus 8. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2, so this will be 2 plus 8. Negative 3 plus 8 is equal to 5, so this will become 5 plus 5. 2 plus 8 is equal to 10. 5 plus 5 is also equal to 10. Last one, quantity negative 7 minus 1 plus 8 is equal to negative 7 plus the quantity negative 1 plus 8. Negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8, so this will become negative 8 plus 8. Negative 1 plus 8 is equal to 7. So this will become negative 7 plus 7. Negative 8 plus 8 is 0. Negative 7 plus 7 is also 0. Next, changing the grouping of the factors does not affect the product. In symbol, quantity A times B times C is equal to A times the quantity B times C. Let's have an example. Quantity 5 times 2 times 3 is equal to 5 times the quantity 2 times 3. 5 times 2 is 10, so this will be 10 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, so this will be 5 times 6. 10 times 3 is 30. 5 times 6 is also 30. So, associative property of multiplication states that changing the grouping of the factors does not affect the product. Another example, negative 2 times the quantity negative 3 times 5 is equal to the quantity negative 2 times negative 3 times 5. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15, so this will become negative 2 times negative 15. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. So this will be 6 times 5. Negative 2 times negative 15 is positive 30. 6 times 5 is also positive 30. Last one, negative 2 times the quantity 3 times 4 is equal to quantity negative 2 times 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, so this will become negative 2 times 12. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6, so this will become negative 6 times 4. Negative 2 times 12 is negative 24. Negative 6 times 4 is also negative 24. Subtraction and division are not associative. The next one is distributive property. Multiplying the sum of two or more integers by a number will give the same result as multiplying each integer individually by the number then adding the products together. Let's have that in symbol. So it says here multiplying. So multiplying the sum of two or more integers by a number, here is the number, will give the same result as multiplying each integer individually by the number, so a times b, and then a times c, and then adding the products together. If it is subtraction, so we have a quantity b minus c will be a times b, copy minus, and then a times c. Let's have an example. 3 times the quantity, 2 plus 5 is equal to. So let us multiply individually the integers inside the parentheses. 3 times 2, and then we have 3 times 5. 2 plus 5 is equal to 7, so this will be 3 times 7. 3 times 2 is equal to 6. 3 times 5 is equal to 15. 3 times 7 is 21. And 6 plus 15 is also 21. Let's have another example. So we're going to multiply each integer here inside the parentheses by the number here. So negative 5 times 7, it's here. Copy minus, it's here. And then negative 5 times 4, it's here. 7 minus 4 is 3, so this will become negative 5 times 3. Negative 5 times 7 is negative 35. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. So this will become minus negative 20. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Negative here will become plus. So negative 35 plus 20 is also negative 15. Next property is the identity property. For addition in symbol, a plus 0 is equal to a. This means the sum of a number and 0 is equal to the given number. 0 here is what we call the additive identity. Example, 100 plus 0 is equal to 100. Another one, negative 100 plus 0 is equal to negative 100. For subtraction, the symbol is a minus 0 is equal to a. So this means the difference of a number and 0 is equal to the given number. 0 here is what we call subtractive identity. Example, 25 minus 0 is equal to 25. Negative 25 minus 0 is equal to negative 25. Notice that whatever is your number here, when subtracted by 0, is the same number for the difference. For multiplication, a times 1 is equal to a. This means the product of a number and 1 is equal to the given number. 1 here is what we call multiplicative identity. Example, 15 times 1 is equal to 15. So the number is 15 multiplied by 1. The answer is the same number itself. Another one, negative 15 times 1 is equal to negative 15. So again, the number is negative 15 multiplied by the multiplicative identity, which is 1. The answer is the same number itself. And for division, a divided by 1 is equal to a. This means the quotient of a number and 1 is equal to the given number. 1 here is what we call divisive identity. Example, 50 divided by 1 is equal to 50. So the number is 50 divided by the divisive identity, which is 1. The answer is the number itself. Another one, negative 50 divided by 1 is equal to negative 50. The next property, inverse property. For additive inverse, the sum of any number and its additive inverse is equal to 0. The additive inverse of a positive number is the negative number. When added, it will be equal to 0. The additive inverse of a negative number is the positive of that number. When added, will also give you 0. Example, 100 positive. What is the additive inverse of positive 100? That would be negative 100. So positive, negative, this will become minus 100 minus 100 is equal to 0. Another one, negative 100. What is the additive inverse of negative 100? That is positive 100. So negative 100 plus 100, same number of different signs will give you 0. For multiplicative inverse, the product of any number and its multiplicative inverse, or another term is reciprocal, is equal to 1. In symbol, a times 1 over a is equal to 1. 1 over a is the multiplicative inverse of a. When multiplied, will give you 1 as an answer. It could also be negative a times negative 1 over a. Negative 1 over a is the multiplicative inverse of negative a. When multiplied, will give you 1 as an answer. Let's have an example. 8 times. What is the multiplicative inverse of 8? That would be 1 over 8. When we multiply this, 8 and 8 here will just cancel out. So this is equal to 1. Another one, negative 8. What is the multiplicative inverse? It will be negative 1 over 8. So negative 8 times 1 over negative 8 will give you positive 1. I would also like to include the special properties of 0. For multiplication, any number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. In symbol, a times 0 is equal to 0, or negative a times 0 is also equal to 0. Example, 100 times 0 is 0. Negative 100 times 0 is also equal to 0. For division, first, 0 divided by any number except 0 is 0. So 0 divided by any number except 0 is equal to 0. It says here except 0. So what if 0 is divided by 0? It is indeterminate. 0 over 0 is indeterminate. I will not discuss this further. This is of higher mathematics. Last one, any number except 0 divided by 0 is undefined. So let's have any number except 0 divided by 0. When you are given any number except 0 divided by 0, the answer is undefined. Let's have an activity. Identify my property. So number 1 here, we have quantity 3 plus 15 plus 10 is equal to 3 plus quantity 15 plus 10. Notice here that on the left side, one group is 3 plus 15. On the right side, one group is 15 plus 10. So the members of the group changes. This is associative property for addition. Number 2, 9 times 1 over 9. 1 over 9 is what? The multiplicative inverse of 9. And the answer is equal to 1. So this is the inverse property for multiplication. Number 3, I have here negative 5 times the quantity 6 minus 2 is equal to negative 5 times 6 minus negative 5 times 2. So the numbers inside the parentheses were individually multiplied by the number outside the parentheses. This is distributive property. Number 4, negative 15 plus 15 is equal to 0. The answer is 0. And positive 15 is the additive inverse of negative 15. So this is inverse property for addition. Number 5, 25 plus 50 is equal to 50 plus 25. On the left side, 25 comes first. On the right side, 50 comes first, but the answer is the same. This is commutative property for addition. Number 6, negative 75 plus 0 is equal to negative 75. So the answer is the same given number. And 0 here is the identity element for addition. So this is identity property for addition. Number 7, 69 times 1 is equal to 69. The answer is the same number given. 1 here is the identity element for multiplication. So this is identity property for multiplication. Last one, we have 8 times the quantity. 4 times 3 is equal to quantity 8 times 4 times 3. On the left side, what is grouped is 4 and 3. On the right side, what is grouped is 8 and 4. So the groupings have changed, but the product is still the same. This is associative property for multiplication. Let's have another activity. Identify my property version 2. This time we are given different conditions and we are going to identify what property is being illustrated. Number 1, in the grocery, Cyrus bought bread, milk, and noodles. Is there any particular order when you buy these things? No, it could interchange. You can buy noodles first, then milk, then bread, or milk first, then noodles, then bread. Meaning, if the arrangement could interchange, this is commutative property. Number 2, each student has a unique LRN. Unique, so meaning identity property. Number 3, Emil needs 3 black and 2 red pens. If her twin will need the same number of pens, how many pens do their parents need to buy? Emil needs 3 black and 2 red pens. She has a twin, so we're going to multiply it by 2. So you can add this 2 first, then multiply by 2, or you can multiply this by 2, and multiply this also by 2 and then add the product. So what property was illustrated? It is distributive property. Number 4, while checking outputs, Mrs. Cruz adds part A and part B before she adds part C, while Mrs. Santos adds part B and C first before adding part A. So for Mrs. Cruz, she grouped first part A and B and then add part C. For Mrs. Santos, she grouped part B and C first and then add to part A. So the groupings are different, so this is associative property. For the summary, I have created a table that contains the different names of the properties and the different operations for integers. Now, it is time to check your understanding. Pause this video for more time. Let us answer, determine the missing numbers, then identify the property being applied. So 9 plus blank is equal to 10 plus 9. The answer here is 10. 9 plus 10 is equal to 10 plus 9. So the order interchange, this is commutative property for addition. Number 2, negative 20 times blank is equal to 1. So the answer is 1. So we're looking for the multiplicative inverse of negative 20. And that would be negative 1 over 20. So this is inverse property for multiplication. Number 3, 3 times the quantity 2 minus 7 is equal to blank minus 3 times 7. So the answer here is 3 times 2. And this is distributive property. Number 4, 30 plus blank is equal to 0. So the answer is 0. We are asked to give the additive inverse of positive 30. And that is negative 30. So this is inverse property for addition. Last one, 3 times the quantity blank times 2 is equal to quantity blank times 4 times blank. So in here, we only have one missing number. In here, we have 2. So the answer here is 4. The answer here is 3. And the answer here is 2. So the groupings have changed, but the product is the same. This is associative property for multiplication. Gets? Our next lesson is converting rational numbers to decimal form and vice versa.